The brilliance of Death Note's potato chip scene.
Death Note bears the distinction of being the single most popular anime of all time, at least according to my anime list, although they also think that Pengu is one of the greatest anime of all time, so obviously they're right about everything. Death Note is known throughout weebdom for its fantastic music, its dynamic, exciting direction, and a tense, tightly plotted narrative about a psychological battle of wits between two intellectual titans. But before any of that crap, it is known for this.
Oh my god, this is the best animation scene ever made in the history of animation, like...
And eat it.
Oh my god, my soul burns!
This is one of the most quoted and referenced lines, not just in all of anime, but in all of media, period.
Man, in all of literature, like, people were writing books about this scene like 100,000 years ago already. Like in Egyptian times.
Chip scene is the top meme spawned by a show that has created more than its fair share of internet memes. It is a go-to point of reference for many people when it comes to talking about how stupid and over-the-top anime can be. And
I eat chips like that until
mission
today.
Is the single greatest flaw of Netflix's Death Note movie. It is also, and I say this without a hint of irony, one of
single flaw? Like, I think the Netflix Death Note has no flaws. I think it's a perfect adaptation.
The single greatest scenes in the history of TV anime. It is a showdown of epic proportions, one that can match any fight from any shonen anime that you can name, and while not a lot seems to be happening here, it marks a turning point for the entire series that defines everything going
Man, I feel my heart
forward. It
beating.
Also tells us a great deal about both L and Light as characters, since it's the first time that they ever really interact with one another for an extended period of time, albeit indirectly. To understand this scene, we need a bit of context.
Man, to understand this scene, I need to study for some years or maybe months.
Death Note, if you don't know, is a show about a promising and ambitious high school senior named Light Yagami who uses a magical notebook that kills anyone whose name is written in it within a very specific set of rules in order to punish criminals in a bid to become the god of the new world.
I don't think you need to explain this anime to anybody. Like, if you like anime, you know everything that happens in this anime.
Ambitious. Light, or Kira as he's known to the world, is pursued by a Japanese police task force led by his father, Soichiro Yagami.
This guy is the GOAT. My favorite character in the anime is the father, and this other guy, I like him too. Those are the two best characters in Death Note.
And a brilliant private detective known only as L. Within a day of taking the case, L managed to narrow the task force search area down from the whole world to the Kanto region of Japan. So suffice it to say, he's pretty good at what he does, and is a massive threat to Kira's plans. The potato chip scene takes place in episode 8 of the series, right after
the best episode.
Light seemingly threw the police off his trail by killing all 12 of the FBI agents sent to investigate.
I think the only right thing Light did in his life was to kill Ray Pember. That guy needed to be killed. He was annoying as fuck. Kill that douche.
Kira.
The rest, I think he was wrong, but killing that guy was the only right thing to do. And his boring wife too.
By pulling on a few tiny loose ends, L manages to unravel even more of the mystery because of this. L has figured out that Kira is not just related to one of the task force members, but that he's part of one of the families being investigated by Ray Pember, the FBI agent who died in far and away the most suspicious circumstances, and whose fiancée Naomi committed suicide shortly thereafter. Unfortunately for Kira, L knew Naomi from a previous case and knew her well enough to know that she wasn't the suicidal type. Because of this, L orders that cameras and bugs be set up in Light's family home, which Light immediately discovers because of the absurdly paranoid security measures that he uses.
Man, I do this too, and nobody enters my room, but I do that
to protect his room. Although, of course,
I don't do that, man. I'm too lazy for everything.
Paranoia is clearly justified in this case. Light goads Ryuk, normally a neutral observer, into
the guy is watching the
justified in this
he was
case.
watching the air
Light goads Ryuk, normally a neutral.
He was watching the air condition. Oh my god, his head was hot. He was trying to chill his head. Yes. This is the weirdest scene.
Observer into searching for the hidden camera.
What a disgusting character walking like a spider.
By pointing out that he won't be able to eat his apples if they can see everything. But he finds 0 blind spots. With Light backed into a corner and apparently extremely dissatisfied with the contents of his nudie mag, he's called down to dinner and the scene proper begins. Right off the bat, the scene is pulling double.
The guy was reading porn and like, oh my god, no mathematics here.
Duty, establishing the girly personality of Light's younger sister Sayu, while also setting up the alias that L uses when he confronts Light in the next episode, Hideki Ryuga, the star of the show that she's watching. This is pretty brilliant, since it's a background detail in this scene, and it puts us in the same position as Light in the next.
Nobody cares. Man, somebody needs to say something to this guy. Nobody cares that he's sitting like this.
Episode, feeling like we've heard L's name somewhere before without immediately being able to place it. It also explains why the normally reclusive L would pick that name to confront Light. But the TV show that the family is watching has even more significance than that. Firstly, the way that the sound from it becomes tinny in this brilliant transition from the home to L's monitors gives L's observations a cold, detached vibe, compared to the warm family atmosphere of the Yagami household. This contrast in emotion is a big part of what makes this scene work going forward.
Oh my god, L is a creep.
L tries
watching the guy's mother eating, man. This is the worst fetish you can have, watching other guys' moms eating food. No. Do something better.
A reaction from Light
with her life, like sing with birds.
Broadcasting a message about Interpol sending 1,500 investigators to catch Kira, which doesn't faze him at all. He reacts with detached disinterest, calling Interpol stupid and musing that they must be trying to provoke Kira. To this point, L looks like he's just bored out of his mind, but then Light gets cocky, as he's wont to do, and pushes things a step further. He says,
"Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if Kira sees right through this."
This gets L's attention. He peers intently at the screen, trying to get a read on
the guy's like confessing just because of his ego. Yes.
Light's expression.
The problem of the man with the most men is they try to show they have big dicks. Like, this is a metaphorical big dick, but he's trying to show his big dick to L.
Low-res footage, and he lets loose a bemused chuckle. At this moment, a quiet, playfully pensive guitar track picks up in the background of the scene, a musical cue often used for scenes of intrigue in the show. On the surface, this is an innocuous comment, but if Light is Kira, it's exactly the kind of thing he'd say if he knew that cameras were on him and he wanted to taunt L. The gears are now spinning as L constructs a profile of Light in his head and matches it against his perception of Kira and what they know so far. As Light goes to get his chips from the one cabinet that's obviously meant to be animated, his sister pokes fun at him.
So this is the type of the chips I want to buy. This
an indication that it's odd for him to be eating chips this late. He brushes it off with a reasonable explanation, but it's a clue to us in the audience that this is abnormal and therefore notable. It's also maybe a small clue to L. Looking inside the cupboard, we're given further hints that the chips are important. Not only are the chips...
Yes, this is the most important character of the all animation, to be honest.
Grabs a different flavor from what the...
This is the best shonen protagonist right there.
Rest of the family normally eats. They're also stuffed into the back of the cupboard. Clearly, he didn't want them being eaten before he got to them. The cut from the cabinet door closing to Light locking the door to his room is pretty brilliant, as it creates a logical connection in our minds between the actions and negates the need to show him walking upstairs.
It's time for eating chips. Every man who loves chips really much has this same feeling, like, now I'm gonna eat chips. And the guy's intense because, like, it's a ceremony to me, eating chips. It's very important for my daily routine.
Door. This is a strong edit. As Light walks into the room, we see Ryuk splayed out on the bed, shaking from exhaustion, which is a great little character building moment. When Ryuk says...
Yeah, I think this is the unique character development moment of this weirdo.
I guess Shinigami gets
this character doesn't do much in this story.
tired when they work hard.
That tells us that searching this one little room may be the hardest that he's ever worked in his entire life.
Oh my god, this guy's like me. Oh my god, he needed to do absolutely nothing and he was tired already. Like I understand this feeling.
A bit of levity to what is otherwise a dry exposition scene, setting up the rules of the confrontation between El and Kira. His goofy, exaggerated, pained expressions also work to this effect. The way that Light talks to him without actually talking to him is also quite clever. After pretending to study for a moment, El rips open his bag of chips in the most exaggerated and over-the-top way imaginable, then peers into it to see something hidden in its depths. I mean, he's probably actually just opening it normally, but the fast camera work and editing turns the mundane action into one of the most dynamic, explosive movements in animation history. Dynamic camera movement like this is a signature stylistic flourish for director Tetsuro Araki, who also worked—
Wait, you see the guy's the goat.
A signature stylistic flourish for director Tetsuro
Like, if you're dressing like this, man, you are the GOAT.
Araki, who also worked on High School of the Dead, Guilty Crown, and Attack on Titan. And this is some of his finest work. From this moment, the scene really ramps up in intensity. Light starts laughing maniacally as bass-heavy dramatic music accompanied by
man, eating chips is so radical. I feel like this too.
Freaking gospel choir kicks up in the background, signifying to us as an audience that
shit just got real.
Super intense.
As the music builds, Light slowly reveals the details of his plan. He needs to ensure that while he's being watched, some criminals that he can't possibly know about are killed to give him an alibi. He continues studying, but we see him glancing out of the corner of his eye rather than looking directly at the paper. This close-up on his eye serves two purposes.
But the thing is, the thought of, now I'm gonna get a bite, now I'm gonna eat this. This moment, like, you don't need to think like this.
Firstly, it gives us a very raw and intense picture of how cold and driven he is in this moment, totally focused on what he needs to do. But it also sets up a bit of incongruity with the next shot. We see the light off a screen reflected in his eye pretty clearly, but cutting away reveals that his computer and TV are turned off. This creates intrigue, which is paid off once it's revealed what's in the bag. And man,
but how? But the sound, how can you, like, it's inside the bag, but you need to look inside the bag to see this. And also, if you are hearing this, Elle is hearing this too, so you need to use headphones. I don't know, something's wrong here.
Ever go all out in building up to this? The camera moves dramatically.
Something is wrong with this weird, ridiculous scene.
Jumping from crazy sweeping shots to intense close-ups of his pen as he furiously scribbles. His movements are onion skin, creating a trail that makes everything feel like it's moving in slow motion and emphasizes the importance of certain actions. When we finally zoom into the bag, we see that Light has a portable television and a piece of the Death Note taped inside it.
Wait, what?
Light has a portable television and a piece
How? What the fuck? I didn't know about the paper.
of the Death Note taped inside it. A pretty clever plan for getting some kills in while Elle is watching, although one with a fatal flaw that we'll get to in a second. Light monologues to himself about the brilliance of his own plan, leading up to that infamous line,
I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
as this is happening.
Like, if Elle was watching this and the guy's like, with the potato chip, I think he's gonna think about, oh my god, this guy's a fucking schizophrenic, lunatic, mental disorder guy.
Ryuk goes into apple withdrawal in the most needlessly and hilariously over-the-top manner possible, giving the scene a certain comedic bent. I've often heard this scene talked about as an example of unintentional hilarity in anime, but I think Ryuk is a dead giveaway that it's anything but. You could maybe convince me that the director was simply overzealous in trying to make the act of writing as exciting and serious as possible.
No, I think the guy is very intense.
With over-the-top music and camera work, but when those elements are played against a big-lipped demon standing on his head and doing bicycle kicks for apples, it becomes clear that what we're seeing is an intentional juxtaposition. I mean, in the split-screen montage that comes at the crescendo of this action, Ryuk's flailing body is literally used as a punchline. The fact that Light is
Yeah, the guy is kicking the air. What?
taking this so seriously, and that the scene is presenting something this silly and mundane so dramatically, is the joke. When you meme on this scene, you are not, in fact, laughing at it, you're laughing with it. Which is not to say that it can't simultaneously be tense and exciting. Those feelings are part of the fun alongside the comedy. This contrast...
I have to confess, when every time that in my life I watch this scene, I always think the same thing. Oh, this is incredibly intense. Oh my god, this is the most genius thing ever since Shakespeare. Also, I think that every time. I still do.
Informs us of the perspectives of Elle and Light. For Light, this is a dramatic life or death scenario. It's beyond exciting, and while his heart is probably racing, he can't show even a hint of a reaction to all of the mounting tension. For Elle, meanwhile, it's a quiet, thoughtful moment. After all, he's just sitting there watching a kid study on TV while his
wait. He's basically a streamer.
Family gets ready for bed. But we can tell that he's already suspecting something is off. After all, the tense music grows quiet as he asks Detective Yagami about his son, but it doesn't cut out entirely. Instead, it builds to a final, slow, triumphant chant from the choir as Light relaxes and continues to study as he waits for a criminal to die. The music dies down as Elle gets the news from Watari that 2 criminals have died just now, which should prove Light's innocence, but only if you're looking exclusively at the facts. As a detective...
Yeah, but the guy is very smart. Like, maybe the potato chip is Kira. Maybe the potato chip is killing everybody. This is how he was thinking that moment. He was like, yeah, it was the potato chip. Let's arrest the potato chip.
Elle's real brilliance lies in getting into the heads of other people and figuring out why they do what they do. He's good at poring over evidence, but every break that he makes in the Kira investigation comes from observing the behavior of others or exploiting Kira's cockiness. This is Light's big slip-up. In terms of evidence that would hold up in court, he gives himself a rock-solid alibi here. But in doing so, he makes Kira act in a way that only really makes sense if he knows the police are onto him and he's trying to throw them off the trail, which is consistent with Light subtly taunting Elle early in the scene.
I think he wanted that. Like, it's boring to kill everybody and not get caught. I think everybody who kills somebody, inside their hearts, they want to be caught.
He does correct for this later by killing more petty criminals, but the damage is already done.
Because it's like a birthday party. Yo, you get caught. We know you killed that lady. And the guy's like, yeah, finally I have some attention. And everybody hugs and the guy is in the jail. But
subconsciously,
yes, that's the point. They want to get caught.
Elle is onto him. Light's more obviously suspicious behavior, like putting a paper alarm in his door jamb, doesn't raise Elle's eyebrows. To him, that's just normal teenager stuff. It would be weird if Light weren't hiding something from his parents. The things that Light does in his room that he thinks will divert suspicion, digging through a hidden stash of dirty magazines and spending his whole night studying with no distractions, don't
The demon is what? Oh my
god.
god.
Not only is the magazine too pedestrian to justify rigging the door, it doesn't make sense that the kind of kid who hides porn in encyclopedia cases would study for hours on end without procrastinating or doing something else. Add to that the fact that on this one night in particular, Kira just happens to
what a weird scene.
Change his entire modus operandi to kill 2 petty thieves who just happen to be on the news, and it all seems a little too convenient. He might create enough doubt that the cameras can't be justified anymore, but
this is the guy who watches porn for exercise, like to exercise his mind.
But in his
he's being productive.
Haste and arrogance, he cements himself as Elle's #1 suspect. Light thinks that he's playing checkers, but Elle is playing like Harry Potter wizard chess. This scene makes it clear, at least if you're paying attention, that Elle is much, much smarter than Light. Of course, Light does ultimately outsmart Elle in the end, but only with a combination of luck, outside help, and straight up magic. Light would tell you that it was all his own brilliance, but then so would Bakugo. Death Note
Bakugo and Light, the same character. for me in my heart. But I think I was smarter.
Is really good.
But if you die, you're dumber. So
Good at introducing plot turns that
I think the smarter guys are the guys who are playing tennis and not trying to kill anybody.
story
I
in
think
a
those
new
are the smartest guys in the anime, like the guy who's playing tennis and living his life
direction
and not being killed, you know.
every few episodes or so. But this is arguably one of the most decisive. Because of this one night, Elle decides to confront Light in college the very next episode. Obviously, the main reason that we remember the potato chip scene is because of just how insane it is, but it wouldn't have had the impact that it did if it weren't so pivotal to the overall plot and so novel as far as anime conflicts go. It embodies both the intense mind games and the unconventional, over-the-top sense of fun that makes Death Note such
That's why Japan does the better things ever.
a classic.
Like the best things ever. Every anime is better than everything. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Every time I try to talk serious, it's just shit.
Deserves to be
I just talk shit.
remembered
Just
as
that.
more than just a meme. Though, if the comments on my last video about Hero
Okay, this is the end, man. I'm gonna eat chips right now.